Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Macarini Creative Design. We're a little bit squeezed in here, but this hopefully will be the last month that we have to be indoors. We'll retake our appropriate place in the street, out in front, and we should control the street here. Macarini Creative Design, just so you guys know, is the oldest ongoing metal arts production studio in back here, combined with a gallery in the United States for modernist design in metal arts. We run a school here, Metalworks SF. We also, on the wall up there, you can see all of the lot of the wonderful students that have come through our school and do metal arts here and develop themselves as artists, which is really cool. This is a timeline of my father's work going back to the 1930s. He was a pioneer in modernist design in the United States, and contrary to popular belief, it wasn't mid-century modernism. It was actually started in the 1930s in Germany before Hitler destroyed it. It was called the Bauhaus. My father was influenced by the Bauhaus and loved the Bauhaus. So you can see a timeline of his work going back as far as the 1930s. He opened the production studio gallery in the 1400 block of Grant Avenue in the fall of 1948. So this September we'll be having one heck of a party here at 75. I'd like to welcome you all, and we have wonderful poets and performers tonight, organized by Jessica, our wonderful poetess and organizer. So I'm going to turn it over to her now, and enjoy yourselves.
Good evening. Thanks everyone for coming. Thank you, Dan and Macarini Creative Design, and thank you to David Zise, as always, for doing sound for this series. He's been doing it every week now for as long as it's been going on, like what, 2.5 years?
It's a life sentence.
Yeah, I know. And we're stuck with you.
Exactly.
Anyhow, I'm just going to read 2 poems. I just wrote this recently for a friend of mine, Elizabeth at Nafu, and it's called Elizabeth at Nafu. At 14, you came to New York City from Ethiopia, became part of the East Village art scene, then to DC to go to Howard, then back to New York, then back to DC, then back to New York, then DC again, then gone forever a year ago. I still don't know how you died, my dear friend Elizabeth. I wrote a poem about your tissue paper collage in your apartment on 3rd Street above Tribe's Gallery. It had purple hills and rocks, chartreuse trees on the tops of the purple hills. A blue river flowed below. Birds flew in the blue sky above. Each year around Christmas, you sculpted a paper tree and had a party, made pasta with Italian tuna and oil, tomato sauce and capers. You cooked from all around the world, smoked lots of weed, beady cigarettes, drank copious amounts of wine in small cups, your big eyes always glowing. I didn't know Elmer's glue was archivable. You had a mixed media show in the Smithsonian, dialogues in the diaspora, curated by Elizabeth Harney. Shrine for Angelica's Dreams, Dream Dancers, Haunted Forest, The Sanctuary. Maybe you're in a sanctuary now, or in a haunted forest, dream dancing. One night we flew up to Harlem in a taxi, danced and drank till dawn in an after-hours jazz club, and then on the way back to the Alphabet City in the cab, you suddenly asked me, "Where the fuck is my skirt?" I looked down and saw that mine was missing too. So, it actually is true. This is called The Second Line for my friend Dave Bullers, who some of you may have known. He was a very awesome saxophone player in person. who died recently. So this is a poem for Dave Bowers, the second line. The moon's a baby's eyelid. It closed its own eye, put itself to sleep, rising up in the sky to riff with dark. These blues, that moon, have tears now, so play what's unheard, inform trumpets, dig it. The saxophone echoes on a lone beat corner now, calling us to the second line. We respond, we dance, we dig. You are the parade. Keep on playing that thing, blow that saxophone, up and away, bebop to boop. Blues have their own ideas. Jazz is now, dig. And now please welcome E.K. Keith.
Hi, everybody. Yeah. It is such a pleasure to read in such a beautiful room. Hey, shut it out. I mean, seriously. All right. So I spent an hour earlier today, trying to make final decisions about what am I going to read tonight. Because it's hard to leave your neighborhood, and this is far from where I live on the other side of town. It's over 3 miles away. Really. So I have a lot of really heavy stuff that I wrote during the pandemic, and also before the pandemic, and currently, but I've decided to go with some navel gazing and 2 fantasies. Mm-hmm. So we'll start with some navel gazing. This is called Lilius, Yoga, and Me, PBS, mid-1970s. At Linda Sullivan's School of Dance, we wore black leotards with pink tights. Tap shoes had to be black with low heels. Ballet shoes had to be pink with one strap of pink elastic across the instep, no ribbons. I thought these rules were absolute. Then Lilius came on TV after Mr. Rogers, Sesame Street, and The Electric Company, a daily ritual. She invited me to do yoga with her on TV. I marveled at her magenta leotard with matching tights. So I stretched my mind. I stood on one foot. Lilius played music like I had never heard before, and I liked the slow motion poses, with some I even knew from dance school. And I decided when I was big enough to have my own way, I would wear a leotard with matching tights, and I wondered if they came in blue. So that was a little navel gazing. On to the fantasies. So this is about a real place that's gone, and I don't know, maybe you'll know it, but absolutely nothing in this poem is not made up. Smiley face. We dream of tour buses, big crowds. I would love it if somebody threw a bra at me. But we're the opening act tonight at the bar, a local all-girl power trio, and we play while the crowd builds. People get beers. Applause slakes our desire to be heard, if not remembered, when the band who just rolled into town, crammed into a rented van, starts to rock. And a one. We finally get our own show, and our drummer is curled up behind her drum kit, snoring. She was talking about Quaaludes earlier, but they don't even make those anymore. Does this bar have coffee? That would be cool. Not worried. Sometimes she just needs a little nap. The bartender is pissed, and the bouncer keeps giving me the eye. It's the snoring. We'll get her up in time to play. Let's tell him it's part of the show. We're not kicked out yet. Anna, too. I worship Tina Turner with the quarters I was saving for laundry. No one's played that song on the jukebox for a while. Our waitress calls everybody darlin', but she never smiles after midnight. We get breakfast after the show because nobody wants to go home. Everybody loves a stack of amplifiers on Saturday night and a stack of pancakes later, but there's something about the sharp clink of silverware against plates that trips my tinnitus. Punk rock makes you hungry, or maybe it was the joint we smoked after we got off the Geary bus. The coffee is hot. You can get pancakes or a burger and fries anywhere, but we are here. And a 1, 2, 3, 4. And for the final fantasy, which might be the name of something. Maybe this will be like Final Fantasy 4 or 5. I don't know. Is it a video game? Oh, here we go. Here's the Final Fantasy. Peace, love, and understanding. It's easy to photograph war, harder to show peace. Because peace looks like birthday parties, picnics at the beach, waiting for the bus, and another day at work. The problem with peace is that it's nothing special. Peace is ordinary. Subtle as crossing when the light turns green and the rhythm of your feet becomes part of the pattern of the crosswalk. Yellow and black, yellow and black, yellow and black. Peace. The opposite of love is ego. And neither of us have anything in the game. So let's ruin our friendship. Let's drink cheap beer on a first date that lasts at least 7 years. Maybe sometime we'll need some sleep. Maybe sometime, but not now. I'm wearing one Batman sock and one with blue stripes. I never got the hang of matching, except when I'm with you. Harder times coming. When respect isn't mutual. Power usurped by men in expensive suits against the will of ordinary people. Bamboozled, double-talked, and flim-flammed, we stand, cardboard in our hands. We the, for the, by the, comes the revolution. Understanding. Thank you all for listening. Happy New Year.
Thank you, EK. And next, I would like to introduce, please welcome Dusty Kashi Feather.
I'm Dusty Kashi Feathers, on the road to frankincense. This poem is called Refugee. In memory of John Mulligan, one of my favorite writers and poets, and in memory of Ronnie Sauer, Gene Carlisle, who used to live up here, Psych Mike, who lived down the street. We're all refugees of an easy time in endless space. Refugees from a crazy past of mental haste. Soulful and bodily slavery, slavery of body and soul. I'm a refugee from a distant past. I took my refuge quite early when at last, at the age of 9, from immediate family, from the hometown where I was born, from the nationality that I was given, from the fossilized totems of kings and patriots, from birthright privilege of the first-class section, from English colonialism to colonialist rock and roll that dictates which band could play at the major ball. Through the vicissitudes, past the hills and valleys, past so many unknown swamps, past the many fables and lakes, past the carbon copies and fakes. We're all refugees, as someone takes refuge in her own head. Taking refuge means an intent of letting go of some unwanted past of taking refuge. 100 million displaced just this year by greedy wars and human rights abuse. You know, we're all refugees, your ancestors too. You're all refugees too. Orson Welles' ancestor was in President Lincoln's cabinet, though I'm sure his granddad's granddad just moved in on an inbound ship from some distant place where they'd taken refuge. My ancestors bore the shit out of me. I left them all to find their own enlightenments in quantum space in due time. There's another one, it's called Crazy. This is written for all these crazies people call crazy in San Francisco. It's called The Crazies Are Here. The crazies are here to set us all free. The crazies are here before you and me. The crazies are seen waking late noon, searching for stars and kissing the moon. Mother called me crazy for smoking wild herb, losing my mind in the cave of my hurt. The crazies seem keen and prancing along the cable car tracks, reciting their songs out loud nonchalant. And who are these crazies that everyone mocks? If not by word, yet surely in thoughts. And the techies contrive in posture and tone, in manner and style of their high CEOs. Thank God for these crazies who sleep on wet grass, for they're here to show not all of us veering, sold out on the soul. Not all of us laughing have rusted away to the wetness of greed, down that hole of decay that sits on the top, watching the rot. The crazies are fresh as the dew that rests on the car window, as fresh as the moon who shows her face rarely the break of each noon. And that's it. Do I get one more or are you good? Thank you. And this one's called, that's my last one, America's Contriving. And if I could find it again, shit. Yeah, America's Contriving. America's contriving newer accents I hear of televised soap operas as I pass by smart strangers on sidewalks and parks or on the radio waves. America's contriving as Hollywood teaches how to speak and discern, how to hear and construe, how to earn for your lunch without being rude. America's fearful as the fear she imposes is fed through her people to the rest of the world. America's smart now, smart and wise, by the force of the phone and her internet files. Smart cigarettes and smart pipes, smartphones and smart bikes. No handlebar windows, no cassette playing stereos, only CDs and Bluetooth. Smart clouds in disguise, determines social standing by the ear of your phone. America's paranoid again, enraged by fear-driven pundits, barely alive on top of her workers, the Amazon tribe, who work night and day only to get by, so to celebrate Christmas in due time, as we all hear jobs, jabs, and fear. America's contriving her romance and songs. Walt Whitman is lost and just may be found, crossing the ferry Brooklyn bound, without shadow of sound. Oh, Uncle Walt Whitman, the candor and all, please take my hand. Show us how to traverse when the bridge falls, to recycle our souls. I've tattooed your name on the skin of my soul, so the angels take pride when I take my last fall. And give it up for Jessica Lewis. Thank you, Jessica, for having me.
Thank you, Dusty Kashi Feathers. Next, please welcome Pretty Vangani.
Thank you so much. My name is Preeti Vangani, and a lot of my writing is centered in grief from losing my mother. I lost my mother when she was very young. Marlboro Men. Joined at the hip by my mother's death, my father and I fight like cats in heat. To become more mother, I nag him about his smoking. I can still smell the hospital's bleach where his jittering hand steadied her feeding tube, except I was barely there. I will never question if he employed all his money and mine to save her. He will never ask why I couldn't just leave college to be by her bedside. Like an expletive withheld, a cigarette stays pressed between his lips, and on his mind, confidence that we are now one marriage, each away from happiness. I populate shadi profiles to find a man least like him, he to land a woman most like mother. We lock horns hunting for midnight nibbles, and he is certain I have been sleeping around. I have been sleeping a lot, under the shroud of my mother's silk dupatta. Tonight he is a widower with triple X in his web cache. Tonight I'm a two-short skirt numbed by sloppy missionary. To become more mother, he buys me hot breakfast. How he pirouettes his breath to balance the sambar packet, flimsy as a house of cards, not a drop spills. We never spill a drop of liquid grief, except on the Sunday he yelled, "You never loved her." And I yelled back, "Fuck, go fuck yourself." My virginal F word to him, like a punch made of freedom and the spirit that is perhaps still derailing my mother's soul from reaching heaven. Instead of sorry, offers of ice cream swirl between our barely open doors. Instead, he smokes double. Instead, her maiden name, 2 syllables that could mean she who ran or a rebel. I got them inked on my ankle. Slouched in figure 4 on the pot that night, I nursed my open wound with saline. Excavated from my bra my first ever cigarette, sweaty, limp coping stick, stolen from my father's drawer. I inhaled a long inhale, believing the longer I held, the more it would free me, but my throat gave in. I coughed out a big cloud, and the girl she once was at once covered in our one smoke. Unrewarding. From my father's cupboard, I fish out a familiar purple tin, heavy with his old coin collection. I let his vintage piggy bank waterfall into a pyramid of silver and gold on the bed. Anas, athannas, chavannis, from when a gallon of milk was a chavanni. Sparkling gold guineas, but my favorite is a 1 Anna coin that he as a schoolboy threw on the tracks to see what a fast train could do to the penny. The penny, now a blanked metal, a little crimped moon, It reminds me that my father, the constant harborer of hurry and worry, the man who plots to leave a room as soon as he enters it, once stood still as a summer afternoon, back of his knees sweating sweet, tapping his feet at the edge of a railway platform to simply observe the workings of pressure. Just as he sat, rocking his chair, slow as a lullaby, for 3 months and more by my mother comatose in a non-AC hospital room. By then he was done running her memory back by purring the songs she loved. By then the only song was him waiting in his resting heart like an empty bucket, poised to be filled with the water of courage. Where does he hide his sorrow? Between the same molars that once thickened as honeycombs with my mother's roti crumbles deep fried in sugar and ghee? Kutti, we call this rich breakfast. And my father's salesman superstition is to absolutely eat kutti on the first of every calendar month. Kutti on the tongue means money will come chan chan chan. Once he sang for more money, once he sang for more of mummy. Now, before work, he gulps down 3 dry Murray biscuits, a glass of milk, rubs his belly and says, I'm superbly full. He knows he isn't. He knows I know he isn't. Fullness, his currency of consolation, his way of saying, I don't want you to also grieve for my hunger. Raising mothers. This morning, she came undone into my arthritic fingers in the form of an easy tear perforation on the milk carton. That was a very small kind of mother. Smaller than the mother I encountered in myself, waiving late fees working at the library when the nursing student in finals week eating Oreos for dinner came begging. No fret, I said, my register lackluster, compared to the mother I found in the powerful banter the buck-toothed guy in 12B on Heathrow to Bombay engaged me in to distract me from my pain, cramps coiling under my knees, every nerve sharp as teeth. Grinding down a prayer for the prednisone to usher in the pill, also a mother, dissolving my aches, invisible as the grace I trace in the blanks between my friend's fingers, chopping walnuts, cooking me ahi da gaina, seasoning the chicken with mother-like accuracy, the sense of her knowing I have long been motherless, itself a mother to me. A gold Virgin Mary on her pointer, how it birthed rainbows in the sun-drenched women's clinic as we waited for her to get an IUD. An option our mothers would perhaps unapprove of, and this option too a kind of mother. And the ghost of my own mother, which my father conjures, pointing to the corner table in Kailash Parbat, a restaurant by a cowshed where they first met, sipping filter coffee amid bovine groans, chaperones at arm's length. And it is hard to not be amused when my father, now motherless and wifeless, having brought doctors and priests to both women in vain, still finds it in him to be a mother to himself. Wide grinning, he whistles as he combs his balding head before bed. Each night, ask him why, and he will say, what if Julia Roberts comes in my dreams tonight? What is to mother if not to suspend moonlight faith in the face of a stubborn night like the milky plainness with which my stepmother said to me while shelling peas, he raises his hand, your father, her admission making her more my mother than I allow her to be, her a linear erasure of my one mother, now my mother's kin, the two sharing a skin memory. Look how she pendulums her feet at the sewing machine, altering a paisley dress for me. And she says, try it now.
Bravo.
All right. This last poem, I wrote it on one of the big storm nights, 2 days before the year ended. When the rain arrives proprietary, its hold over my atrium and ventricle, and nothing, Not supper or an upper, no Earl Grey, no chamomile or emotional support murder series. No pint or popcorn or porn, no binge or abstain economics, no depression buys in the virtual cart, no dog's wag or comfort rag, not pre-scripture or father's consoling lumber, no battle cry or freedom song, neither telling it slant or straight as confession, no profession as devotion or profession as refuge, or parable of spider's resilience. No hopes kit, no song sticks, no relative shelving of the self's tragedy as smaller or shorter than another's, no upward looking star chart or quarter in the fountain's lark. Not photo or note, not even a good reliable memory of my good reliable mother offers me relief. With every pumping and receiving cavity in my body running out of steam, it is then that I, nape arched and palms open as plates, whisper, make it stop. But I mean, let it go on. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you, Pretty Van Gani. Next, please welcome Gregory Pons. And after Gregory, we'll close the evening out with a few songs from Jerry Farrell.
I'm tired. He said, I'm tired, old, and black, but not necessarily in that order. Seen more blues than the indigo sky and royal sea put together, but they've never got the better of me. Been struck by white lightning, been beat up more than once by the system, by daily living, by a policeman's club. Been stoned by hail and burned by the sun. Done lost more time than you could ever believe, and all that I've won is a temporary reprieve. A moment to rest and catch my breath before the winter's breeze tries to steal this flimsy cardboard that provides my only shield, covering me for one more night as I try my best to survive these cold and homeless streets.
Yeah. Say it again.
Raven on the roof. A raven on the roof in the wind and rain clings to the chimney top, then hops to the branch of a backyard tree. Watches my window, the raindrops in me. Watches the world of wet get washed away as spots dot my window pane that briefly disguise the image of a raven on a rainy day, clinging by a wing and a prayer. Maybe he was praying for me the way he held my stare. So solemn, so serious and austere was he. Far too grand to be a crow, though he might have been the haunted bird of Poe, come to keep me company or forecast things I fear. Was this a good or bad sign? Was this a poem or an omen? Should I be hopeful or scared or simply close the blinds? I kept watch for the moment, then briefly lowered my eyes, only to look up in time to spy a raven on the roof, glistening in wind and rain, taking off in flight, leaving behind a question that to this day remains. What was the message the raven came to relay? Was it bird of promise or bird of pain? Had it come to punish, come to praise, or simply stop to catch its breath before it flew away?
Thank you. Thank you.
Black Like Me begins with an epigraph. How is it right that I still have to fight for my civil rights just 'cause my skin ain't white? Trapped in a racist maze that saps my daily energy, I try to navigate between heaven, hell, and purgatory, but find I am easy bait for the devil in the blue-eyed sea. I could drown in the same waves that took my ancestors deep. I weep at night hearing their cries in nightmares that unrest my sleep, realizing those lucky to stay alive until they got to the West Atlantic side had none of their possessions except for the skin of their lives. So that centuries later, I would barely survive in a country where I still ain't free, where doors are still closed and I'm always opposed when I command equality. They don't want me to vote, don't want me to breathe, won't let me move my neck from under their knee, can't make enough money to support my family, still treated like number one menace to society, though in the face of all that's been done to impede, I continue to try, strive, and believe, to work hard each day in search of Martin's dream. But I live each year with the fear of my own vulnerability, that they don't one day shoot to kill while I'm living black like me.
Fuck yeah.
New ism. When right nor left quite represent people's concerns or primary interests, and all we ever get is left, right, back where we began, then we need better decisions. We need a brand new brand. We need a brand new ism. We need another other to free us from the prison that incarcerates us all. We need a social call, perhaps a call for socialism, or some sort of government which will lift us if we fall too far into the schism that has always existed between the who is and the who isn't. One that throws a comforter over those with less than, feeds the haven't eaten, beds the can't find sleep, and cares for the who needs healing. A commune, a communal, maybe a communistic tribunal, a mass community gathering, no slow or middle of the road to fascism, but a worldwide revolution, a true planetarianism towards a new humanitarianism, united to combat fear and greed, whose primary mission is to house and feed, to spread no hatred or disease, and create a planet where we will all be global promoters of love and peace.
Yeah. Straight from the heart.
Gregory Pons. And now, please welcome Jerry Ferret.
This is Motherless Children. Sing for my mom. She just passed away this year. Motherless children have a hard time when mother is gone. Motherless children have a hard time when mother is gone. The children got no place to go, running around from door to door. Motherless children have a hard time when mother is gone. Father will do the best they can when mother is gone. Father will do the best he can when mother isn't gone. Father will do the best he can with so many things a man just don't understand. Nobody treats you like mama do when mother isn't gone. Some people say sister will do when mother is gone. Some people say sister will do when mother isn't gone. Some people say sister will do. Person man come along, she will be untrue. Nobody treats you like mama do when mother isn't gone. Some people say brother must do when mother has gone. Some people say brother must do when mother has gone. Some people say brother will do, or brother just don't know what to do. Nobody treats you like mama do when mother has gone. Okay, and I gotta sing this for Jessica. She likes this. I'm gonna bring it on home.
It's a different song.
Baby, I'm gonna bring it on home to you. I done bought my ticket, I got my load. Conductor holler, all aboard now. Well, I take my seat, railway back, and watch this train move down the track. Baby, hey, baby. I think about the good times I won't have had. My soul got happy, my heart got glad. Oh well, I think about the way I love you too. Yeah. You can bet your life I'm coming home to you. Well, once there was an engineer, and he had a little monkey, and And he used to put the monkey on a stool. And that little monkey watching everything that the engineer do. Well, one day, he pulls into the drawer and gets out to have a little espresso. And the monkey threw in the throttle and away we go, singing babe, babe. I said babe, babe. I'm gonna bring it on home. I'm gonna bring it. I'm gonna bring it on home. I said the monkey got the engine going down the line, left the engineer with a hurried mind. Babe, babe, babe.
Yo.
That was 1 minute and a half.
What?
One more?
Sure, should he play one?
Yay!
I'll do something upbeat.
Yeah.
No, make it depressing. Make it as depressing. Depressing! I like it. Give us sad, baby. Give us sad.
Oh, you have a request?
Well, I have a little book. Was given to me. And every page spells liberty. All my sorrow soon be over. If religion was a thing like money could buy, the rich would live and the poor would die. And all my sorrow soon be over. Too late, my brother, too late, never mind. Hey, all my soul. All right.
Yeah, very good. Killed it. Enlightened it. Enlightened. Not killed it. Enlightened it. Gave us life.
Another one?
Yeah. Yeah, you know it. No, let me
I'm a rolling stone, all alone and lost. For a life of sin, I had paid the cost. When I pass by, all the people say, just another guy on the lost highway.
Yeah.
Just a deck of cards and a jug of wine. Love a woman's life makes a life like mine. All the day with me, I went astray. Started rolling down this lost highway. I was just a lad, nearly 22, neither good nor bad, just a kid like you. And then I'm lost, too late to pray, Lord, to pay the call on the lost highway. So boys, don't stop. You're rambling around on this road of sin, because it's all about in my headlights. You'll curse the day you start rolling down here this lost highway.
Well, thank you very much, everyone, for coming. Have a great evening. Thank you to all the poets, and once again, thank you to Macaroni Gallery, and to my friend Colin, who actually videotapes this reading series for Alcatraz Radio. So you can find the reading series online and watch all of the readings for the past 2 years.